Giant serpent representing chaos and an enemy of the sun god Ra, Apophis, had to be battled each night during Ra's journey through the underworld. The Cherokee and the Ojibwe have myths of horned serpents. These beings are often considered powerful and dangerous, associated with water and the underworld.
Many energetic forms of Nagas were created and left loose. In this cosmos, these manifestations are made by human beings, but there are many other manifestations of Naga which are not of human origin. We do not know who created them, definitely not human beings, but they are floating around in the cosmos and doing their own thing. So Naga Panchami is the fifth day of the Shravana Masa or the Shravana month according to the lunar calendar. In northern India, they use the fifth day of the ascending moon. In southern India, they use the descending moon. But the most important thing is, it's in this month where it's post-summer solstice, and it's significant for variety of reasons. So, what is the significance of this veneration of the sacred serpent? So wherever people sought mysticism, wherever people had deeper experiences of life, there the snake image was always there. Well, I said about many cultures, but Indo-Asian region is the most active serpent culture, even today, very actively there. On the Naga Panchami day, you will completely freak if you will see thousands of people, every one of them carrying a snake and walking around on the streets like a procession. Nowhere else in the planet this can happen. Cambodia is another place where people, handle poisonous snakes very effortlessly, but there they eat it up also. In India, it is considered a great sacrilege to kill and eat a snake. The Chinese have been using snakes. The Bureau of Earthquake Detection, like a meteorological group, actually uses snakes to predict earthquakes in the region. I think I've been talking about this, that if you observe a cobra, clearly you can say earthquake is coming. I'm not an expert, but people claim that if they observe it properly, they can even tell in which direction it is, where will it happen approximately. So, essentially they are very sensitive and able to feel life. They got an ear to the ground. Snakes or serpents are usually stone deaf, they don't have hearing mechanism. They are feeling the reverberations of the earth and their entire body is in touch with that, so to the ground. And within the human body, there is something called as a reptilian brain. The reptilian brain controls the vital functions such as heartbeat, respiration, temperature and balance in the system. Your body becomes reliable if your reptilian brain is all that you access, but it becomes rigid and compulsive. In a way, those who are aspiring to become conscious, those who are aspiring to explore the peaks of consciousness, for them to be released from the ways of the body, the compulsiveness of the body, is one of the most important things. If you want to fly, first thing is earth must release you. If it doesn't release you, you're not going to fly. You may call it gravity. It's a kind of a binding. Only if it lets you go, only if you find a way to break that bond will you fly. The same way within you. Only in some way, if you bring this reptilian brain and all the other functions associated with it to a certain sense of seamlessness and ease, that your heart beats without effort, your breath happens without effort, everything in the body happens well, you're well balanced. Now if you sit here, you have no concerns of the body. Only body is not a concern, something bigger is possible. When body is the concern, it has the power to root you down just to that. It will make sure you don't go anywhere with anything. What is this Naga veneration across the world is just this. People are trying to transcend the physiological compulsions which we have, which are not small, which is the basis of our making. What is this about? When did Sadhguru become this kind? He's always been this kind. It's just that it's important that in today's world, everything needs to be logically correct. Being logically correct will take us to a certain point. Beyond that, unless you know how to evolve your logic where it will touch the magic of life, otherwise we get stopped by our own logic. Modern science, particularly physics in the world, has come to this point where they clearly understand the limitations of human logic. And now they're talking about if they want to go any further, they need something more. Because one who looks at life intellectually, there is nothing more. So they came up with what is called as fuzzy logic. That means it's not logic, but we don't want to admit that we have lost our logic. We want to call it fuzzy logic. If it's fuzzy, it's not logic. Logic is always clear and, black and white. So, what is this Naga about? This is not limited to one area or one geography on the planet. Literally across the planet, this has been there. Why is this so? Even in places where there has not been much serpent population, even there, the Naga veneration and serpent worship has been there. So what is the basis of this? There are many aspects of it, and now all of you are waiting for the Naga Mandala Puja to start. Our Vaidyas from Udupi have come and they'll do a wonderful job, and they live for this. No, they not live out of this, they live for this. It's very different. And you will see how it goes. But the important thing is to understand that human perception is the basis of who we are. How profoundly you perceive something, whichever area of life, whichever arena of life, how profoundly you perceive will decide how successful you are in that area of life. Whether it is science, spirituality, business, politics, art, music, whatever it is, the profoundness of your perception of that aspect of life will determine how successful you are, at what level of activity will you perform. So how to enhance perception has always been human aspiration. It is out of this aspiration we produce telescopes, microscopes, telephones, microphones, because we want to enhance our faculties in some way. But those right from ancient times who looked at this profoundly realized that even our faculties, the existing faculties of five senses of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching have their limits, and beyond that they will not go. You can stretch it. You can stretch it beyond what your neighbor has. but it stops somewhere. But the human longing to expand, the human longing to know is limitless. So, they came up with various devices how to enhance perception. In this, many things evolved, many things were done, many deities were created, they were literally windows into the cosmos. But Naga has been a significant part of it. When we say Naga, you are just thinking of a snake that lives in these hills or elsewhere. Well, that is one part of it. Why, as you see, Adiyogi has Naga upon his shoulder, because Adiyogi is making a statement, he's as good as me in perception, because it's perception which determines who you are in this world. Whether your perception is superficial or your perception is profound, makes you who you are or who you're not. So as a part of this, both many forms of… energetic forms of Nagas were created and left loose in this cosmos. Some of them, these manifestations are made by human beings, but there are many other manifestations of Naga which are not of human origin. We do not know who created them, definitely not human beings, but they are floating around in the cosmos and doing their own thing. Whoever wants to perceive, whoever wants to dig deeper into life, for them it's always been available. As in the video we were saying, every major event in my life is always punctuated with the presence of Naga. I didn't seek this, it always happened. In the early part of my life, when I started closing my eyes, I didn't do anything particular, just close my eyes, the need to open my eyes was gone. So if I sat in a place somewhere in some hills or some forests, 4 or 5 hours if I sat with my eyes closed, when I opened there would be 12, 15 cobras sitting there and waiting. They were my first disciples, but they were not my disciples, I was the disciple. Because it took me some time to realize that they are perceiving something more easily than I'm trying to perceive. In a much simpler way, they're able to perceive. It took some time for me to keep the human part of my intellect down and just perceive things like a Naga. It is since then, many things happened, and today all that is happening out of that. So this is the first consecrated Naga that we have created. In the last 800 years, this kind of consecration has not happened, and all of you are here on this Naga Panchami day. There is many more things that I can do to confuse the hell out of you, which I don't want to do today, we'll choose another day for that, right? Because as you step into these realms, either you will defeat your logic or your logic will defeat you. One of these things will happen. So defeating your logic is not going to be that easy. It takes really earth-shaking experiences within you. When something very fundamental is moved, only then you will drop your logic. Otherwise, you will not give it up. So the only thing that will happen is your logic will defeat you. I don't want that to happen to you. Your logic is wonderful, I have always nurtured it in everybody, but it is also limited. It is a fantastic survival tool. But if your interests have risen beyond survival, if your longings have gone beyond survival process of earning a living, food, sleep, comfort, reproduction, and safety and being better than somebody else, if these things you have crossed, if you have transcended the basic longings of survival in some way, then Naga becomes super relevant to you, because now all that matters is enhancement of the life that you are. Enhancement of life can happen by enhancing one's energies, which will need a lot of work. One has to work for it internally. But enhancement of perception can happen in many different ways. Naga are connecting with this energy, with this form, with this phenomena that we refer to as Naga is one of the simplest ways. And here on this Naga Panchami day, I want all of you to be absolutely with this process without trying to do anything of your own, without trying to become a Naga, without trying to… because you have… all the men, you have heard of Naga Kanyas and all those salacious stories. So, don't imagine all those things. Just simply being open, just being here, participating visually and just being there, you could benefit. We will start in the next 14 to 18 months, hoping that we will find many candidates among you who are ready for certain yogic processes which are Naga-oriented. It will need a certain level of preparation, certain level of commitment. If that is there, we can work towards that. Well, in 21st century, starting a Naga process is little risky for me because I have a reputation as a very logical guru, which I may lose. But I've reached a point where I'm not interested in reputations anymore. That part of the work is done. So, if you are there today, I will see how you are there with the Naga Mandala Puja and how involved you are. But such possibilities are there. It's just it is just that if you are a slave of the times in which you live, when I say slave of times in which you live, you're cultured by what's happening around you, not by what's happening within you. So at different times in history, different generations of people think different things are important. Those things are important in a transient way. But for the life that we are, the same things are important today, same things were important 1,000 years ago, same things will be important 10,000 years later, for the life that we are. But for the person that you are, what is happening around today may be the most important thing. So this is about transcending from a transactional world into a world which is seamless, which is not compartmentalized, which doesn't fall into the silos of good and bad, man and woman, this and that. All the logical divisions that we have are broken because that's how life happens. That's how life has always been happening and will continue to happen. It doesn't matter what is the fashion of the day. Fashion of the day may be something, but existentially the same realities have always been on, will always be. As far as the life phenomena is on, the same thing will be on. In that context, Naga, the form of Naga, accessing or enhancing one's perception through the help of the Naga forms is one of the most effective ways to do it. Please, let's be a part of this. Thank you very much.
ಶಿವನವನೆಂದು ಬಾಗಿ ನಮಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಾಡಿ ಶರಣಾಗಿ ನಿಂದಿಹೆವು ನಾವು ನಗವೇ. ಪರಮಶಿವನವನೆಂದು ಬಾಗಿ ನಮಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಾಡಿ ಶರಣಾಗಿ ನಿಂದಿಹೆವು ನಾವು ನಗವೇ. ಪರಮಶಿವನವನೆಂದು ಬಾಗಿ ನಮಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಾಡಿ ಶರಣಾಗಿ ನಿಂದಿಹೆವು ನಾವು ನಗವೇ. ಪರಮಶಿವನವನೆಂದು ಬಾಗಿ ನಮಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಾಡಿ ಶರಣಾಗಿ ನಿಂದಿಹೆವು ನಾವು ನಗವೇ. ಪರಮನೆಂದು ತಿಳಿದು ಅವನ ಪಾದ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡದೆ, ಪರಮನೆಂದು ತಿಳಿದು ಅವನ ಪಾದ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡದೆ, ಕೊರಳೇರಿ ಕುಳಿತಿರುವುದು ಏಕೆ ನಾಗವೇ. ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗವೇ. ಶಿವನ ಮೂರು ಜಗವತಿಯ ದಯ್ಯನ ಕಾಲಿಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದೆವು ನಾವು ನೋಡು ನಾಗವೇ
ಮುಕ್ಕಣ್ಣ ಶಿವನ ಮೂರು ಜಗವತಿಯ ದಯ್ಯನ ಕಾಲಿಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದೆವು ನಾವು ನೋಡು ನಾಗವೇ.
ಮುಕ್ಕಣ್ಣ ಶಿವನ ಮೂರು ಜಗವತಿಯ ದಯ್ಯನ ಕಾಲಿಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದೆವು ನಾವು ನೋಡು ನಾಗವೇ
ಮುಕ್ಕಣ್ಣ ಶಿವನ ಮೂರು ಜಗವತಿಯ ದಯ್ಯನ ಕಾಲಿಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದೆವು ನಾವು ನೋಡು ನಾಗವೇ.
ಪರಮಾನಂದು ತಿಳಿದು ಅವನ ಪಾದ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡದೆ
ಪರಮನೆಂದು ತಿಳಿದು ಅವನ ಪಾದ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡದೆ
ಪರಮಾನೆಂದು ತಿಳಿದು ಅವನ ಪಾದ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡದೆ
ಪರಮನೆಂದು ತಿಳಿದು ಅವನ ಪಾದ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡದೆ
ಹೊರಳೇರಿ ಕುಳಿತಿರುವುದು ಏಕೆ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗ ನಾಗವೇ ನಾಗವೇ.
The symbolism of the Naga or serpent appears in many cultures around the world, often representing dual aspects such as life and death, protection and destruction, or wisdom and deceit. In South Asia, particularly India, Nagas are considered semi-divine beings living in the underworld, Patala, and in water bodies like rivers, lakes, and seas. They are often depicted as human-serpent hybrid and are associated with fertility, protection, and prosperity. Notable Nagas include Ananta, Shesha, who serves as the bed of Lord Vishnu, and Vasuki, who was used as a churning rope during the Samudra Manthan, churning of the ocean. In Buddhist tradition, the Naga Mukalinda is known for sheltering the Buddha with his hood during a storm after his enlightenment. In Southeast Asia, particularly in Cambodia, Thailand, and Laos, Nagas are often depicted in temple architecture with multi-headed serpents guarding temple entrances and staircases. They are considered protectors of Buddha and the Dharma. The Mekong River is believed to be created by the movements of a Jain Naga, and festivals like the Naga Fireball Festival in Thailand celebrate their mystical presence. In East Asia, Chinese dragons are benevolent creatures associated with power, strength, and good fortune. They control water, rainfall, typhoons, and floods. Unlike Western dragons, they are not typically seen as malevolent. The dragon dance during Chinese New Year is performed to bring good luck. A famous Chinese myth involves a white serpent spirit, Bai Sushen, who transforms into a woman and falls in love with a human. In Japan, the Yamata no Orochi is an 8-headed and 8-tailed serpent slain by the storm god Susanoo, and Ryujin, the dragon god of the sea, is often depicted as a guardian of underwater palaces and a bringer of rainfall. In ancient Egypt, the rearing cobra symbol known as the uraeus on pharaohs' crowns symbolized royalty, sovereignty, and divine authority. It was believed to protect the pharaoh by spitting fire at enemies. A giant serpent representing chaos and an enemy of the sun god Ra, Apophis, had to be battled each night during Ra's journey through the underworld. In Mesoamerica, the Aztec and Mayan civilizations worshipped the feathered serpent deity known as Quetzalcoatl in Aztec culture and Kukulkan in Mayan culture. These deities represented wind, air, and learning. Temples dedicated to Kukulkan, such as those at Chichen Itza, are central to Mayan religious life. In indigenous Australian cultures, the rainbow serpent is a major ancestral being responsible for shaping the landscape and creating water sources. It is associated with fertility, water, and life-giving rains. In Greek and Roman culture, the Leonian Hydra, a multi-headed serpent, was killed by Hercules as one of the 12 labors. Each time a head was cut off, 2 more would grow back unless the wound was cauterized. Python, another serpent in Greek mythology, was killed by Apollo at Delphi. The oracle of Delphi, believed to be the center of the world, was guarded by the Pythia, a priestess who delivered prophecies. In Norse mythology, Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, one of the children of Loki, encircles the earth and is prophesied to fight Thor during Ragnarok, leading to mutual destruction. In North America, indigenous cultures, many tribes such as the Cherokee and the Ojibwe have myths of horned serpents. These beings are often considered powerful and dangerous, associated with water and the underworld. These examples demonstrate the universal appeal and complex symbolism of serpent figures, they often embody the dichotomy of creation and destruction, embodying both protective and threatening aspects in different cultural contexts.